morning, everybody.
Morning.
Oh, we can do better on that. The first time we've seen sunshine in about morning. Well, it is great to be in Lansdale, and it is great to be with so many terrific volunteers. I have had the pleasure of campaigning around our great Commonwealth for 20 months. It's hard to believe, 20 months. And when this race is all over, it'll be a little more than 21 months. And I'll tell you, and I've said this all over the state, no matter where I go, you never take for granted the passion and the character and the energy of volunteers. It still astounds me that wherever we go, people open up their homes for meet and greets, young volunteers, all the way up to people in their 80s knocking doors and putting out literature and talking to their neighbors. And it is incredibly gratifying. And I want you to know, from the perspective of a statewide candidate, that not only do we not take it for granted, but we feel really intense gratitude for all the work that you do. Today, we have really an all-star cast of leaders, not only here in Montgomery County and across our Commonwealth, but nationally. And so it's my pleasure to introduce Jason Emmert, who is the Young Republicans National Chair. Jason's here from Tennessee. Gambling is not yet legal, I don't think, in Pennsylvania in terms of sports betting, but we have a little side wager on the Titans-Eagles game tomorrow. So I think we got a cheesesteak.
He's taking the Eagles, or the Titans, so I get the Eagles.
Yeah, no, I got my Jason Kelce jersey, and if somehow the Eagles lose, I'll get you a Jason Kelce jersey too. So anyway, with that, I want to just introduce Jason and thank you for being here.
It's really great for us to be here. You know, whenever I was actually campaigning to be YR chairman over 2 years ago now, I circled Pennsylvania as a state that we needed to reinvest in. At the time, there hadn't been really an organization in the state for a long time that we could count on that could get the votes out, because this is the most important state in this big midterm election year. And so what we did is we made sure that we invested in great leaders here, and we've been incredibly rewarded with Rick Lockery and the leadership that he's had for the YRs. I think when he took over, when I first came up here, there were 2 YR chapters. 2, 3? And so now there's over 30 chapters. And because of his and as a national organization, we've had 4 or 5 national events here. And we have this weekend where over 50 people representing 60 states are here to go out and knock doors and make voter contacts. As an organization, we have a goal to make 5 million voter contacts this year. Luckily, there's a great group of YRs here in Pennsylvania that's helping us achieve that goal more than anybody else. And that's why the Pennsylvania Young Republicans won the most outstanding state federation of the year. It's an incredible honor to have, especially where they were 2 years ago. And a lot of that is due to Rick's leadership. And a lot of that is due to the leaders that he has across the state. So I'm really proud to introduce Rick. He's a great friend of mine. He is committed to this state. We're committed to winning elections in the Commonwealth. I'm proud to be here this weekend. I look forward to coming back a month from now and celebrating huge victories for this Republican Party. And so, Rick, it's a pleasure to work with you, and thank you for everything you're doing here and for our national organization. Thank you.
To say, Young Republicans in Pennsylvania, we are fired up this year. Your national champions are out hitting doors all day today, all across the state, particularly, as Jason mentioned, our national deployment in Bucks County and the surrounding areas in southeast Pennsylvania. So we're very excited, we're fired up, we're proud to be young and Republican. No doubt about that. So just want to congratulate everybody on today's momentous event. The 4 millionth door knock in Pennsylvania is incredible. I do want to thank our state chairman, Val DeGiorgio, has been our biggest champion to revitalize YR state. And I do want to thank Scott Wagner, Jeff Bartos, and Lou Barletta, and Brian Fitzpatrick for helping us, as well as Val DeGiorgio, helping us put together and sponsor this weekend's national deployment. Couldn't do it without them. We're behind them every step of the way this year. YRs are fired up. We're so excited to get to work. And we have 4 days of action this year, or this fall, as well as another national deployment into Pittsburgh. So we're ready, we're willing, we're energized, and we're getting to work. So thanks, guys. I do want to introduce a great friend of the Young Republicans, your State Senator, Bob Mensch.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
What a great turnout.
Yeah.
All right? I don't have to tell you, it sounds trite, but every election we say this is the most important election that there ever is. And I think that the need to win becomes greater and greater every election. Well, this indeed is the most, in my lifetime, I've been trotting the earth a little bit longer than most of you. This is absolutely the most important election that I have ever seen in my life. I thought Ronald Reagan was, and that changed the country. Today, those of us who are on the ballot, competing here in where you're going to be doing your day of action, Southeast Pennsylvania, we're facing a stable of socialist candidates. I am truly shocked on how I don't know how we've gotten here as a country. I don't know how we want to give away more freedoms. Freedoms that were the reason that this country was founded to begin with. And now we have people that are running against some of us who don't like the economy. They want to take away your tax breaks. They want to increase taxes. They want to grow government. I defy anyone to give me an example where bigger government is better. It's really not. So I'm impressed, truly, that we have this kind of a turnout here on a Saturday morning in downtown Lansdale, the heart of my district. I truly appreciate it. I think you understand what is at stake here in this election this year, and we truly appreciate that you're willing to throw in with us and help us carry on this battle. I can tell you, in closing, as the man, as a person on the ballot, it's increasingly ugly. Between the social media and the personal confrontations that you get from some people. But when I see this kind of a group, it makes me feel okay. I can endure when we're insulted because I've got a lot of really good people here to work with me. So thank you very much. Truly appreciate all that you're doing for us. Thank you. In this room. That's Liz Havey, who has recently become the Montgomery County Republican chairwoman. And what a breath of fresh air. What a new vitality she has brought to our county and to our Republican organization. Liz, thanks for being here.
Oh, yeah, of course. It is fantastic having Bob Mensch. He is absolutely one of my favorite people, and I am very confident, and I shouldn't say this, but I really believe he's going to win. He is doing so well, knocking on so many doors, staying positive, turning voters all the time, just doing a fantastic job. We have another fantastic candidate right from here. He was the mayor of Lansdale. Come on up, Andy. Andy Zeckley is he's getting on his bike every day, riding up the hills from house to house, going everywhere, getting fantastic feedback about you. So why don't you say a few words?
Sure. Well, first of all, welcome to Lansdale. It's nice to see everyone here in my hometown. My calling card is that I'm brief, so I won't break that here today. But thank you all for coming out. Like Senator Mensch said, what I see out there, and I've hit 6,000-7,000 doors all throughout the district. And out of those 6,000-7,000, I've only had maybe 10 people that were very negative, but even they weren't even that negative. I had one person that came unhinged. But the common theme that I've seen is that, like Senator Mensch mentioned, is that these people are socialists and they hate almost all the great things that have happened in America. So they don't like the fact that the economy's doing well. They deny that. So everything that they can pick on, they will to bring us down. So what I do is I go out there and I say, look at all the great things that have happened. The tax reform, the economy's on fire. So with all that said, thanks again to everyone who's helping this happen, and all the folks that have been out there with me on the road. And like Liz said, I go out on my bicycle and up and down hills all day, and that's why I look so good. So thank you.
Andy, you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
I look forward to celebrating with you.
Thank you.
So I just want to give you a little update on what we've been doing at the Montgomery County Republican Committee. I was elected a couple months ago, and we have spent this summer really putting together, I think, a very strong operation. I think the key thing that we've done, which is different than we've seen in the past, two key things. One is we're working really well with the state party and with the RNC, with Val and Brittany. These guys, these are young, smart, driven, energetic leaders that are just representing us so well and giving us whatever we need and ask, and it's been a pleasure to work with both of you guys. And one of the things they did was, upon my request and recommendation, hire that gentleman right there, Craig Bird. Why don't you show them those t-shirts that you Take a look at the back.
Lovely to hear her.
I love that.
Created with Craig's leadership is something called our Strike Force, and that is a group of people who haven't been involved. They're not committee people, but we are training them and taking them door to door every week. We are proud to say that we have 57 with 6 more coming in tomorrow, and about 50 more people who have been energized to say we want to come in for training.
We now have 67 people wanting to come to training in the next 2 weeks.
So people are fired up. And we have been deploying them. We've also got some great Villanova students who've been coming around. I know you've had great success with them.
They're wonderful.
And I don't think we've ever seen this at MCRC, so I'm very proud of that. And I know Andy, they're willing to help you. Any one of the state rep and state senate candidates, and Jeff Bartos, and Barletta, Wagner, we're out, we're working for all of them. And of course, Brian Fitzpatrick, I know he wanted to be here. His campaign manager is here. Where's Dave Johnston? Right back there. He had another event. He had another event in Montgomery County, and I think that's where you're headed to. So we love Brian. He's working very hard. He has a lot of boots on the ground. He's doing great things with his advertising. We're just talking about a new absentee ballot push that he's doing. So everybody's working together, we're talking, and I feel really good about where things are headed. And one of the reasons I'll tell you that I ran for chair of MCRC was because of our state chairman, Val DiGiorgio. Val has been a friend and has really, I think, changed the culture of the state committee. People feel like when they make a phone call there, they get a response, a positive energy. Val is the reason for that. I'm excited to work with him. He is exactly the kind of leader that I thought he was going to be before he ran, and why I supported him before. And I'd like to introduce Val this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Everybody says that the enthusiasm's not on the Republican side, doesn't see what I see when I go to meetings all across this Commonwealth and see folks like you who are hitting doors and doing all the great work and working with great chairs like Liz. And really, I echo what Senator Mensch said, really a breath of fresh air for Montgomery County. A ball of energy and a great leader for this party. Support your chairman, please. And we have a lot to be excited about, enthused about. The work of the PAGOP field program is leading the nation. We've got 40 paid staffers and thousands of volunteers, and today we're going to make our 4 millionth voter contact this year alone. addition to the great work, includes the great work that Rick and his team are doing. And one thing the media asks me all the time about millennials, and millennials registering Democrat, and enthusiasm among young people for socialism. And I point to the success of the young Republicans. I started out as a young Republican in 1986. Please don't do the math. And when Rick and I were elected at the same time, we were both Chester County leaders. I was the Chester County chairman. He was the YR chairman there, and an elected official. We said, Rick, let's do the same thing we did in Chester County all across the Commonwealth. He quadrupled the size of YRs in the space of that 18 months. And it's just a tremendous testament to the energy we have on our side. So don't let anyone tell you that millennials are all for the Democrat Party and socialists. Rick is proving that wrong, and Jason doing a great job all across the country to show that. So thank you, Rick. They're going to make 500,000 voter contacts around today or sometime this week on our National Day of Action for Brian Fitzpatrick. So thank you again, Rick, and all the YRs. So partnering with the Republican National Committee, we have a $250 million investment in data. There is no political tool like this anywhere in the nation. It allows us to really micro-target. And as we hit the doors, every time you hit another door for this program, you give us more information that we can use to get Senator Mensch reelected and Brian Fitzpatrick reelected, so that we can micro-target our message. And we know which doors to hit on, we know which doors not to hit on. We know who's coming out to vote for Scott Wagner and Jeff Bartos, and we know the ones that we probably can't reach. And we know those folks that are in the middle. Just to give you an example, on the PA Georgia 6th special election about, it was more than a year ago, at the end of the campaign, our national chairman, Ron McDaniel, had identified about 32,000 voters who were Republican voters, high Republican voter scores, but just were not motivated to come out and vote. And they spent the next 6 days after that hitting those 32,000 voters with phone calls, with door knocks, with mail, with a message tailored for them. And the lion's share of those folks came out to vote. Ronna had told the President Trump, we're going to win that race by 3.87% tomorrow night. Polls come in, looks like we're up by 7% at about 8 o'clock. President calls Ronna, our chairman, and says, looks like you're wrong. We're going to win that race by 7. Mr. President, it's not in yet. You're going to see it's going to tighten. We won that race by 3.86%. I tell you that because I want you to know how important what you're doing by using this app and getting trained on this app and working with Liz and our field staff, like Brittany, who's here, to make sure we use this program effectively. And we're using it in Pennsylvania better than anyone in the state is using it. So I want to thank you for that. And making sure we get the right message to the right person at the right time is vitally important. And speaking of messaging, maybe we can just talk a minute about why this election is so important. A lot's talked about. And we've got the largest majorities in Harrisburg since the Eisenhower administration. And they've done a great check on Governor Wolf's attempt to turn Pennsylvania into Illinois or, God forbid, California. $4.2 billion in tax increases, cradle to grave, everything from daycare to funeral services, everything in between. We have to send back large majorities, or as large a majority as we can, to the U.S. Congress and the U.S. Senate. We all know why that is. The Supreme Court, and what I continue to say, was a hyper-partisan, Pennsylvania Supreme Court, and a hyper-partisan, politically activated, motivated attempt to take away power from our legislature, redrew lines and made it harder for us to win about 6 or 7 seats in Pennsylvania. They took a couple of them out of play, frankly. Doing that, which they can't do at the ballot box, through the courts. And now we're seeing them try to do that in Washington, D.C. They know what's at stake here. Despite the fact that we sent President Trump to the White House, got Justice Gorsuch on the bench, they have said that they will vote against any Trump nominee, even before they knew who that nominee was. I just got off the phone with Senator Toomey on the way here. I wanted to know what he was thinking about yesterday. And he wanted me to send my regards to you all, but also to let you know that he's fully committed behind the confirmation of this Supreme Court nominee, Judge Kavanaugh. We all know what's going on here. We all know the game that's been playing. They could have brought this information out much earlier. We could have had time to do a full investigation. But they are doing this in an attempt to delay and stall so that they hope they get the United States Senate and can thwart any attempt for us to put conservatives on the court. Judges who don't make law from the bench. And that's what we have in Justice Kavanaugh. Senator Toomey's fully committed to it. I can tell you Republican leaders in the United States Senate are fully committed to it. We're going to get that done. Up and down the ticket, we have Republican candidates who are staying true to the principles upon which the country was founded. And now we're in a place with the left, and I've been saying it for years, but now we can finally have an open debate. They don't like the principles upon which the country was founded. Let there be no doubt. Whether it's free markets, respect for the Constitution, rule of law, they are now a party that's moved so far to the left, and I said it to the media this week, they moved so far to the left, they've given us a great opening here. And 4 nominated Socialist Democrats of America here in Pennsylvania running for State House. A lieutenant governor candidate, stark contrast from our lieutenant governor candidate who built business from the ground up, who understands what it's like to sign the front of a check, who's their candidate is a silver spoon socialist, a trust fund baby, who doesn't have to work for a living, but goes out and tells people to give more of the money you make over to pay for more government, wasteful government spending, and possibly turn this country over to a socialist agenda. We have to fight against that. So our candidates, starting with Lou Barletta, another self-made businessman, grew a business from a $2,500 loan to the largest of its kind in the United States of America. He's running there to be a support for our president, who I think is doing an outstanding job, to make sure that we have a balanced immigration policy, and make sure we keep this economy rolling. Lowest unemployment among African Americans, Latinos, and women in generations, if not ever. Highest consumer confidence. Last year we saw, for the first time in a long time, robust growth in incomes and wages. We have to keep that going, and Lou's a great candidate for us, and we need your help. And of course we have Jeff Bartos and our governor candidate, Scott Wagner. 2 more businessmen. You see a theme here? Scott built a business from the ground up, grew up on a farm, now runs a very successful business, actually a couple of them. Our theme is we have people with real world experience who understand what it's like to create jobs and wealth and opportunity for all. So these candidates need your help, and we need to make sure we're all united, because the key for us in a state where we're down 800,000 registrations is to be united. So I'm asking for your help. Thank you for what you're doing today. Keep it going. Support your chairman. She's doing a great job, and we can win up and down the ticket. I'm looking for a great, great election day. So thank you.